So now we're going to do perpetual inventory. Notice I've drawn a couple arrows in here because under perpetual, you perpetually keep track of what your inventory is. So I've drawn an arrow, so this sale happened right then, and the May 20th sale happened between those. So I do the perpetual a little different than periodic. It is best to keep track of your inventory balance as you go along. So as of the beginning of the month, I had 40 at 20. The next thing I did was on May 10th, I sold 300 at 38. So my journal entry is accounts receivable sales for 300 times 38. But the question is, what's my cost of goods sold? Well, as of May 10th, I only had one inventory level layer, 400 at 20. So I sold 300 of the 400, leaving 100. So each one of these lines, I'm starting over on my inventory balance so I don't get mixed up. Some people can do shortcut ways, but I would say while you're learning it, just write down the new inventory balance completely. So this is not a continuation of this. This is right now I have 100 on hand. So then the next thing that I do on May 12th is I purchased another 600 at 25. So now I have two inventory layers, 100 at 20, and then I purchased an additional 600 at 25. So now these are my two inventory layers. So then on May 20th, I sold 540. So this is first in, first out. So I sold the 100 at 20. And notice that I need to get 540 here because I sold a total of 540. So my next layer is 600, so I sold 440 of those at 25. So I can do my inventory layers now. I have 0 of the $20 ones, and I sold 440 of the 600, so my inventory left of the $25 ones is 160. Make that a 0. Okay, of the $25 ones, so right now that's my inventory layer. So if my cost of goods sold, okay, so my cost of goods sold is 100 times 20 is 2,000, and 440 at 25 is 11,000. So for 13,000, so on this time I have a sale, I have two entries, accounts receivable sales. The 20,520 is the selling price, and the cost of the inventory that I sold is the 13,000. So now I'm going to draw another line. And I have 160 at 25, and then I purchased an additional 400 at 30. So the question is, what is my total cost of goods sold and my total inventory? So my cost of goods sold for the entire time period is 6,000 and 13,000, or you can look at it in these entries. Cost of goods sold is 6,000 and 13,000. So remember, cost of goods sold is an expense that goes on the income statement. Income statement is for the year ended, so for that year or that month, I had $19,000 of cost of goods sold under FIFO. And my ending inventory is 16,000. So I'll color those because I want you to see which one's the most and the highest, the lowest, etc. So that's FIFO. I'm going to get LIFO. Okay, so under LIFO, again, I started with 400 at 20, and the next thing I did was sell 300. So again, I only have one layer, so I sold 300 at 20. So my cost of goods sold is 6,000. So I have accounts receivable sales of 11,400 and cost of goods sold inventory of 6,000. The only reason these two are the same is because I have only one layer. And then, so after I still have my 100 at 20 left. So there's my new inventory at that point in time. Then the next thing I did was I purchased 600. So just like FIFO, I have 2 layers, but this is where it's going to change. So I still have my 100 at 20. And notice I'm just redoing it all. It just prevents some errors. So those are my inventory layers after the purchase. Then I sold a total of 540. So I'm right here on this date between May 12th and May 28th. So I'm at May 20th. And I know that I sold a total of 540. So I want it to total up to that 540. So I know that I sold last in, first out. My last one's in is my $25 layer right there. And I sold 540 of them. So I'm actually kind of done. So I sold, oh, let me keep them on the same lines. So I sold 540 at 25. I had 600 in there. I sold 540. So I've got 60 left at 25. And I have all 100 of them at 20. Okay, and so there's my new inventory layer there. And then the last thing that I did, whoops, I should have multiplied that out. So my cost of goods sold is $13,500. So in this particular case, I would debit accounts receivable sales of $20,520 because that's what I sold them for. But my cost of goods sold in inventory, if I was using LIFO, would no longer be $13,000. It would be $13,500. Okay, and then the last thing I did was buy an additional 400. So now I have 3 inventory layers. I have my 100 at 20. And I still have my 60 at 25. And I bought an additional 400 at 30. Okay, and now I'm going to multiply them across. I'll pause. Okay, so now I have 3 layers to end it with. I have my 100 at 20 still. I have 60 at 25. And I purchased an additional 400 at 30. I multiply those out. So my ending inventory is 15,500. So under LIFO, my ending inventory is 15,500 as opposed to 16,000 under FIFO. Why? Because I have the older, cheaper ones in inventory. And my cost of goods sold is 6,000 plus 13,500, so for a total of 19,500. And so my cost of goods sold is more because I'm drawing off of the more expensive ones as I sold those. So notice the difference. Now I'm going to do average. Okay, so on average we start off the same way. We had 400 at $20 and we sold 300 of those, so there's only 1 layer, so the average price is 20. Now I have 100 left at 20. Okay, and then so the next thing I did, just like the other methods, was I have my 100 at 20. And then I purchased an additional 600 at 25. Okay, so here's where average cost kind of differs. Every time that right before I have a sale, or you could do it after you had a purchase, I need to figure out my new average. But it's a weighted average, which means I don't average 20 and 25 because I had 600 at 25. So I had a total of 700 units, and that cost me $17,000. So my average cost is 17 cost per unit, $17,000 divided by the 700 units. My average cost was $24.28. You can round it, but I'm just going to leave it like that. Okay, so now when I sold some on May 10th, my average cost was $24.28. So I sold 300 right there. I sold 300. I sold 300 at an average cost of $24.28. So my cost of goods sold, whoops, I didn't sell 300, I sold 540. Just leave my thing there. Because I have my 300 up here at 20. So then of the 700, I sold 540, and I have 160 left. Notice under all methods, I have sold 540, 160 left. Sold 540, have a total of 160 left. Sold 540, have a total of 160 left. It's just the cost of those 160 and the cost of the 540 that differs. Okay, and that average cost is $24.28. Again, don't sweat the rounding. Now the next thing that I did is I purchased some. So now I have 160 at $24.28, and I purchased another 400. If I can get my computer to work. And I purchased them at $30. Okay, so now I have a total of 560 units that cost a total of $20,686. And although I really wouldn't need to do this because I don't have to do it until I sell something, so sometimes you might purchase again. But I do an average cost per unit, and I have $36.94. So the next time I sell them, I have $36.94. So under average cost, once you compute a new average, these no longer exist. So in essence, I could forget about those. I'll just color in black. They no longer exist. I have 700 units that each cost $24.28. So in this one, I could do the same thing. My cost of goods sold is $19,114. Get that in the right place. And my ending inventory is $20,686, which seems pretty high. Okay, so you notice that I said my numbers don't make sense. Now, if you look at this, if I want to check my numbers, I know that my beginning inventory plus purchases is $35,000. So I can take my FIFO, and if I take my $19,000 for cost of goods sold plus my $16,000 for ending inventory, that equals $35,000. If I take my LIFO, I take my $19,500 plus my $15,500 ending inventory, that equals $35,000. But if you notice, if I do this for average, it doesn't. So that's my big indicator that I've got an error in here. And as you can see, I've actually got the wrong formula in there is what happened for this one. Just multiplied the wrong number. So I'm going to redo that one. So I have 400 times 30. I clicked on the 560. And so now you can see that my 15,586 is my ending inventory. I take my cost of goods sold plus my ending inventory, it equals 35,000, so I can see that I'm correct. So under perpetual, it's just you perpetually do it, so instead of pretending I sold all of them at the end and being simple like periodic, I keep track of it as I go along.